big announcement kind of came from the Jazz over the weekend. Not to dunk on JP. Let's have it at 3:30. We're having JP on at 3:30.
You're patient.
Let's do it at 3:30.
You're more patient than I am.
Ricky Rubio over the weekend said something that I think is not terribly surprising, but Ricky Rubio's never been all that afraid to kind of speak out. He said on an international television station, I believe is what Andy Larson ended up clarifying, and we'll talk to Andy about it coming up at 4 o'clock. He says, Utah has already let me know I'm not a priority for them. And I think we kind of got that sense a little bit, but the Jazz had said, yeah, we think there's a chance we could bring Ricky Rubio back. We certainly see scenarios where there are. And I wouldn't say that's eliminated, but Ricky Rubio telling a TV station, they've let me know I'm not a priority. I think he wants to feel wanted. He's talked about how Marc Gasol feels wanted, and they're fellow countrymen, so they're friends, how he was wanted by the Toronto Raptors. I think Ricky Rubio wants somebody to come and love him a little bit more than the Jazz are showing.
Yeah, now this also sounded to me like a pretty clear-cut case of miscommunication, because the Jazz would not tell him that he's not a priority. The Jazz probably told him that he is not their top priority.
Right.
And he got upset.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him for that. I think every athlete has a right to react however you want in that situation. But based on the locker room clean-out sound, I mean, it was very clear. Dennis Lindsey did not say that he's not a priority for us. Now, what he said was, we're going to keep our options open and we're going to look around, and Ricky is free to sign elsewhere or to let the market dictate or come back to the Jazz. But the Jazz have no burden at this point to offer him anything. But I don't believe that the Jazz told him he's not a priority. I believe they told him that he's not their top priority, and Ricky said, fine, I'll go elsewhere.
And even then, they probably didn't say, Ricky, you're not our top priority. They probably said, Ricky, we're going to see what's out there on the free agent market. We want to improve the team. And then after that, we will figure out what we can do with your contract and whether or not it still fits.
Yeah, I don't think for a second that the Jazz would be that combative. Now, I do believe that that's how Ricky feels, and that's fine because that is where the team needs to be. The Jazz do need to improve at that position, and they need to move on from Ricky Rubio.
Here's Dennis Lindsey and Ricky Rubio talking about this maybe ending of this marriage coming up this summer. This was from Locker Room Cleanout last month.
The same thing will hold true in free agency. We're going to put Ricky inside of our tiers free agency. He'll be part of it. He's got a decision to make on his end. We got a decision to make on our end. But there's a lot of scenarios that I could see Ricky back. We really appreciate who he is. We think we can get him better from a health performance standpoint, from a skill standpoint. We know who he is, and we know he has Jazz DNA. And so, he'll have options. We'll have options, and then we'll talk to he and his agent. But, I'm really, really pleased with the level of professionalism, care factor, level of competitor that Ricky is. So, yeah, there's definitely potential for a go forward.
A lot of friends ask me. A lot of friends are like, yo, where are you going to play next year? Like, can I come visit? It's like, I don't have any idea where I'm going to go. And a lot of things depends. Like, if you're LeBron or KD, you can pick your own destiny. But there's a lot of things that depends of the teams that they're going to need a point guard or not. If here they're going to find a point guard or not. So when free agency comes, like now the season is over, I can start thinking and want and see where I want to go, where I can go. But one thing I'm going to look for sure is going to be the best situation for me.
It doesn't sound at all like Ricky Rubio intends to come back. And it sounds, from his perspective, and it sounds very clearly from Dennis Lindsey's perspective, that the Jazz would consider bringing him back, but he says there's a tier of players they're looking at. I believe wholeheartedly that that's exactly how Dennis Lindsey talked to Rubio's agent. Let's not act like these guys are talking personally. And that's also the impact here is that Rubio is not going to have this conversation directly. It's Rubio's agent. And his agent's going to call Dennis Lindsey, and Dennis Lindsey, or vice versa, and Dennis is going to say, here's our plan. We're going to wait. We're not going to give that deal to Ricky yet because he's not our top priority at this point. Now, I believe that Ricky's agent then could turn around and tell him, the Jazz said you're not a priority to him.
Right.
To get his axe to grind, because what does his agent want? More money from a team that's going to bid on him, not the Jazz. The Jazz are not known as the big spenders in the league. The agent wants money. The agent wants Rubio to have an axe to grind and to be upset at his team.
Yep.
But every athlete feels this way. It's okay, but I don't think the Jazz use those words.
I agree with you. It was also interesting when Ricky was leaving the locker room clean out. He kind of stood up after and said goodbye to all the media members. And kind of said it was nice to know. It was nice to work with all of you. I think, and you know what? Maybe more so than the other way around. Maybe Ricky doesn't want to be in Utah. I mean, Ricky may more than anybody realize, hey, they're not going to give me what I want. I'm not getting the looks I want, or I'm never going to be the star that I want. And it's not crazy to think Ricky Rubio wants to be a star. Whether or not you think he's talented enough to be a star, he was a superstar in Europe when he was 14 years old, and then was going to be the next great Pete Maravich, John Stockton point guard that was going to come to the NBA, and everyone thought he's going to be a game changer. And that's why he got drafted number 5 overall by the Timberwolves, and they waited for him to come over. And then it just hasn't fit, but don't pretend that this guy doesn't have insanely supreme confidence and an enormous ego that makes him think that he can be as good as he wants to be. And that's how you have to feel as an athlete. Just don't be surprised that Ricky, who sometimes seems a little meek or a little shy, still has that in him.